How does the Microsoft support government in promoting cybersecurity?
So we work together with governments quite closely through a number of different programs and projects. One of the things that we have been working on for a number of years, actually for over a decade, is our government security program. And in that program, we actually give governments controlled access to our source code so they can verify the integrity of our source code. We recently launched a transparency center in Brussels just earlier this year, where we actually deepened the engagement with governments in the context of that program. Prior to launching the center, this was a program that gave online viewability of the source code to governments. Now we have a facility where experts from governments can come in, can review all of our major products, and convince themselves of the authenticity and integrity of the source code. In addition to that, we have a number of information sharing programs with governments where we are able to share cybersecurity threat information in a trusted environment with governments. And I think having both the information sharing as well as transparency are key components of effective public-private partnerships with governments today.
Have you got any plans, any ideas how to improve how to improve cybersecurity?
So I think there are a number of things that need to be considered when we're talking about how can we improve and how can we ramp up cybersecurity globally, both for governments but also for all of our customers. One of the things that we've been seeing over the last several years is a trend toward much more sophisticated and advanced cyber attacks, something called Advanced Persistent Threat, APTs. And while there are a number of technological things that we can do, that in itself won't be enough to address some of this. As governments take on different roles in cyberspace, including exploiting cyberspace and including ramping up their offensive capabilities, we really need to have a robust policy discussion and a policy debate with governments about how to actually establish some rules of the road for acceptable government behavior in cyberspace so that we can mitigate and reduce governments investing in offense, governments investing in exploiting ICT products.
You told about much more sophisticated cyber attacks. What is the most difficult issue in cyber attacks from your perspective?
I think there are a number of different things that are challenging. Again, I would come back to the fact that we have an increasing set of actors that are investing very heavily into some advanced and sometimes very persistent threats, where they are trying to circumvent security technologies and really are in a very targeted way going after adversaries. And so oftentimes what we'll see is that governments are investing in these capabilities just like they're investing in defense, and you have these different missions that governments need to fulfill, and so there's a tension, and the private sector sometimes gets caught in the middle. On the one hand, we on the private sector side are fully committed to defense. We do defense, we do not do offense. Yet we're working with government in order to both help them with the information assurance mission, but at the same time we are facing this increased threat where governments and other actors are investing in these increased offensive capabilities. And so for us, that raises the challenge. We are constantly increasing our defensive posture. We're constantly investing in cybersecurity. At Microsoft, we've been investing in cybersecurity for well over a decade. But I think what we're seeing is a trend, and what is needed, I think, is a trend for industry broadly to really invest in cybersecurity capabilities as these advanced and persistent threats continue to evolve.